Welcome back to the College Splatcast. This week it is only me recording. I'm James. I'll be your host. We're covering the college football playoff, the second round. I'll have some pretty big games this week. Starting out, we have Texas versus Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. Texas, coming off of a somewhat dominant win, was the closest game last weekend. Pretty atrocious last weekend. But Texas, with the win over Clemson, won by 14 at home. Now, some keys to look out for this game is Cam Scatterbo, how he does against this Texas defense, and then Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers was 17 of 24 last week for 202 yards, a touchdown interception. Had 4 carries for -3 yards and 2 sacks. Not too impressive. What was impressive was the running back duo in Blue and Wisner. They combined for almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is really what propelled Texas to win against Clemson. What is scary is this Texas team, like Cade Klubnik, pass right over 50% completion percentage, but 336 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And then their running back didn't do much, which is good for Texas considering Cam Scatterbo is going to be the focal point. Now, I don't think that Clemson relied very much on their run because they were down most of the game. But yes, this Arizona State team has Cam Scatterbo. He has over 2,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, 37 receptions. What I do really like is Sam Levitt came out this week and said that he is going to prove to everyone who the better quarterback was, him or Quinn Ewers. That should be an interesting. Levitt is having a decent year. He's 43rd in the country in passing yards, 20th in the country with passing touchdowns, and only has 5 interceptions. And he's coming off of a Big 12 game where he threw for 219 yards, 3 touchdowns, also had a rushing touchdown. I think if this Arizona State team can get the run game moving, that they can do wonders because this rushing defense, it's top 10 in the nation. They're only allowing 103.8 yards per game. And so they're going to have to rely on Sam Levitt. I think Arizona State is the hot team right now. I think Kenny Dillingham, their coach, is a phenomenal coach. He's really young. I'm going to go with Arizona State on this one on a fly. I think they're going to be the big upset this week. A lot of people in the Real app are leaning Texas. 79% of them are picking Texas to win over Arizona State. But I'm going to lean with the Sun Devils. I also think it's really cool. I got to see them in person. And Texas struggled in the SEC championship against Georgia, losing by 3 in overtime to Georgia's backup quarterback. So it will be interesting, especially since they let up 122 yards to Trevor Etienne. I think Scatterbo will go for over 100 yards. It will not be his best game this season. But I think we're going to need Sam Levitt to have a lights-out game for this Arizona State team to win. I think they can. It is going to be in the Peach Bowl, but despite Austin being closer, I think the Arizona State fans will travel. It's an easy flight from Phoenix to Atlanta. I'll take the Sun Devils in a nail-biter for our first game. Next game, though, is one of my favorite teams, and that is Boise State playing Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. Boise State historically has, they last been in the Fiesta Bowl with Kellen Moore, I believe, beating Oklahoma on a last-minute play. They did Statue of Liberty. It was awesome if you remember it. But this Penn State team absolutely dominated last week against SMU. Big 28-point win. I believe they had 2 pick sixes to go with their 3 interceptions. They dominated on the defensive side of things. That's why they won the game. They won because of their defense. Drew Allard had a very, kind of an abysmal game. 13 of 22 for 127 yards. But the thing is, they didn't have to rely on him because they had a really good run game. 2 running backs running for 98 and 97 yards with 3 touchdowns combined. That run game was instrumental along with their defense. They're going to have to keep that up against us, Boise State. What I see with Boise State is they've had to practice against the best running back in the nation, robbed for Heisman. They've had to practice against him all year. Without a doubt, Ashton Jeanty is the best running back in the nation. He will beat Barry Sanders' record this week. The current over-under is set at 52.5. I think I'm going to go over because regardless, I think it's going to be a shootout. Boise State, though, on the defensive side of things, they have Abdul Carter projected top 10, for sure first-round pick, probably a top 10 lottery pick. When he's on the edge, he is dangerous. And so that Boise State offensive line has been one of the best in the country. It is the reason that Ashton Jeanty has had such a good game. They're also third in points per game, so they're going to have to score points on this Penn State team because this Penn State defense is elite. There's nothing you can get around it. But this Boise State defense does have the 16th best rushing defense for rushing yards per game. I think they can lock up. I am. Y'all are going to call me crazy. I'm going to go with Boise State. Ashton Jeanty has something to prove. Remember, he just lost Eisman to Travis Hunter. There's been a lot of hate toward Travis Hunter, and I feel kind of sorry for the kid. Did I think he deserved to win Heisman? Absolutely not. Ashton Jeanty 100% deserved it. I'm not going to say it was a media contest. I'm not going to say it was a snap thing. It is what it is. It's over now. Ashton Jeanty lost. But he has something to prove now. And there's no better time than to prove it in the college football playoff. Boise State, a lot of people were saying, why are they getting third seed? They need to fix automatic bids, automatic buys for conference champions. They play in probably the best group of 5 conferences, that or the American Conference. I will stand by that. They barely lost to Oregon early in the season. I know it was early in the season. Teams will change. I think Oregon is one of the best teams in the country today. But this Boise State team has something to prove. This running back has something to prove. This kid is special. We might not ever see something like him again. He is special. He will break Barry Sanders' record this game. Penn State, though, I think it's going to be close, just like Arizona State. But I think it goes to overtime. I think Boise State will win in overtime. It will be a fun game. But Penn State's inability to play against good opponents will hinder them in this game. They lost in a shootout to Oregon 45-37 in the Big Ten Championship. They let Dylan Gabriel go 22 of 32 for 283 yards, 4 touchdowns. That is a near perfect game. They also let their running back rush for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. And let's just say that Oregon's running back is nothing too special. He has over 1,000 yards this season. That is awesome. He has 15 touchdowns. That is awesome. He's playing on one of the best offensive teams in the country, so he should have some good stats. But he's done Ashton Jeanty. And then what I also like, and I've harped on this several times in the past, is Maddox Madsen, his ability to contain the ball. He only has 3 interceptions on the year. We just talked about Sam Levitt only having 5. This kid only has 3. I mean, we've seen guys go and throw 3 interceptions in one game. I think I've seen a Mississippi State quarterback this season do that. Do I know which one it was? No, because we played, I think, 3. But this kid can get it done. So when they stack the box and they focus on Ashton Jeanty, look for Maddox Madsen to make those, drive extending plays when he needs to. He can air out the ball. He's not an elite quarterback. He's no top 10 pick. He's no Dylan Gabriel. He's no Shooter Sanders. He's no Cam Ward. He doesn't have to be though. He just has to make the throws that he needs to do when they can't rely on Jeanty. When they start stacking the box, putting 6, 7, 8 in the box, they got one-on-ones outlined, and you know that your guy can beat them. You got to make those throws. And he has been consistently good. He also is able to rush the ball. He has rushing touchdown the past 2 games they've played in. He actually has 3 in the past 4. And he hasn't thrown an interception since they played Nevada. This kid can be good. When they played San Diego State, a pretty notable Power 5 or Group of 5 team, he had 307 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. So we know that he can get it done. Will he do it when the lights are the brightest? I think he can. But like we said, it boils down to Sam Levitt. It boils down to Maddox Madsen. I mean, he beat out, what's his name? Malachi Nelson, former 4 or 5-star recruit, went to USC, went to Boise State. Everyone expected him to start. I think even in college football 25, they had him as the starting quarterback at the beginning, and Madsen beat it out. So coach sees something in him, something special. But this offensive line has to be great. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, yards per play, 6.9, third in the country. Points per game, 40.6, third in the country. Points per game, 23.3, 48th in the country. They're winning by big margins, but will that Group of 5 play carry over to when they play Penn State? I sure hope so. We're going to go with them. I don't think that Drew Lar has what it takes to get it done. I don't think Penn State wins in big games, and this is the biggest game they'll have all season. This is bigger than the Big Ten championship because this is a national championship. Our next game, Notre Dame versus Georgia, Orange Bowl. Notre Dame, pretty big win this past weekend. I know a lot of people said Indiana didn't belong, but hey, that's an in-state rivalry. Kurt Cincinnati was talking a lot of crap, and Mark Freeman went in there. He got the job done. Nothing fancy. Looked nice in his 3-piece suit. They walked out with the bagpipe band. I think that's a really cool tradition, and I really like that he brought back the mask before the games. I think that's really cool. something that only Notre Dame can do. That's special. Riley Leonard, Duke transfer, went 23 of 32, 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 30 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 2 sacks. Solid game. But then Love, Jeremiah Love, he's going to be one of the best running backs next season. Just sit and wait. He has over 1,000 rushing yards this season, 18 touchdowns, 13th in the nation in touchdowns. But his past his past 4 games, he's gone for over 120 in each. In fact, almost all of them except for the one against Indiana, he had over 135. And then in the past 4 games, he has 5. He's had 7 touchdowns the past 4 games. This kid is going to be the next big thing. Look out for him next year. But yeah, Georgia on the other side of things, they are missing their starting quarterback. It was said that Carson Beck was out the rest of the season with an arm injury. So they're going to turn to who is their backup that's not their starter? Gunnar Stockton. I saw him speak. He drives a vintage, like an old 1980 truck. They believe in him. SC championship though. He was consistent in getting his players the ball. Had very low incompletion percentage. He went 12-16. The thing was, I'm pretty sure most of it was checkdowns. I mean, 4.4 passing average, 71 passing yards and an interception. Not great. Not great. Now, has Carson Beck been the best quarterback this season? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So they're going to have to rely on the run game. They're going to have to rely on Trevor Etienne, who rushed for 122 yards in that game against Texas in the SEC championship. They're going to have to rely on Nate Frazier. He didn't have as great of a game. He had 6 carries, 56 yards, 56 total yards, 47 rushing yards. And I'm sorry, Trevor Etienne only had 94 rushing yards. He had 122 total yards. They're going to have to rely on their running backs because they don't have a Lad McConkey. They don't have a Brock Bowers this year. And Stockton has to be able to make bigger plays because 4.4 average is horrendous. 12-16 is good. But when you only have 71 yards with that and you have an interception, that's just not going to fly. And the problem with that SEC championship game is how strong is Texas really? They've played the same good team twice and they've lost twice at home and technically at a neutral site, but really a home game for Georgia. They've lost twice. This game is going to be the Sugar Bowl. If the teams picked it, I'm a little shocked Georgia did not pick the Peach Bowl, considering. But hey, maybe they want to give their fans. Maybe it was preset. I don't know. But Notre Dame is looking hot. I really like Notre Dame. Let me look at the spread for this game real quick, just to give us an idea. Georgia spread. Notre Dame is a hot team. I think Marcus Freeman has turned this program around. Something that what's his name at Georgia's slight favorite negative 1.5. Really, that looks to me like a toss-up. But let's be honest, Marcus Freeman, he's brought back traditions. He was able to recruit Riley Leonard, one of the top portal quarterbacks from last year. And he's done something Brian Kelly has never done, and that was win a college football playoff game. Kelly was never able to get it done. I remember several years of getting blown out to Bama and the 4-man playoffs. A lot of people said, Notre Dame, why are you here? Please join the conference. I'm still on the team. Notre Dame needs to join the conference. I think it's a disgrace to football. Leave that tradition behind. You're not better than everyone else. Join the ACC, join the Big Ten, one of the two. I think they are a better fit for the Big Ten, but they've done a lot of stuff for the ACC in regards to basketball, baseball, all those other sports. But Notre Dame football needs to join a conference. I think it will help build their resume up. I know they're very stingy with their TV contract with NBC. Actually, this past week, it's the first time a Notre Dame game had been on ESPN since like the 1990s. So that was very interesting to see. But I think Riley Leonard will have himself a day. I don't think Gunnar Stockton is ready for this. I think Jeremiah Love, he is a name to look out for, especially in this upcoming season. I think Notre Dame will win this game. So far, I'm going Arizona State, Boise State, Notre Dame. I think that's 3 straight underdogs. I want to say that Arizona State is an underdog to Texas. But it's college football playoff. I think anything can happen at this stage. Versus Texas spread. Anything can happen at this stage. The first round, yeah, there was a couple fraudulent teams. Texas is 13.5-point favorite. Screw it. Give me Arizona State. I don't think Texas has played that good of competition. I think that Cam Scatterbo is a top 3, maybe even top 2 running back in the nation this year. But yeah, for the Georgia Notre Dame game, I don't think Gunnar Stockton is ready. the lights are too bright for him. I think Marcus Freeman is going to step up to the challenge. I think Notre Dame is a hot team coming off a big win last week. I know the culture there has definitely changed for the better. And so I will take Notre Dame in the orange bowl, not sugar. Are we sure it's not sugar? Sorry, that's sugar bowl. Yeah, so ignore that. Let's edit it. There we go, sugar bowl. Yeah, so that will be played in New Orleans on Wednesday. That is the 6:45. That's the late game. 8:45 Eastern time, 7:45 Central, 6:45 Mountain, and 5:45 Western or whatever, like California said. And our game of the week, one of the most storied bowl games in all of history. Definitely one that I would recommend to everyone going that can have the opportunity to go. Absolutely, you should go. I don't care who the team is. You absolutely should go. I lucked out. Big Michigan guy. Got to go last year. It's Rose Bowl. It's Ohio State, 8th seed versus Oregon, 1 seed. This was what a lot of people thought the Big Ten championship would be. Michigan, though, said otherwise to Ohio State. But this Ohio State team is a different team than the one they played Michigan. I think when they played Michigan, their egos got in the way. I really think that their egos got in the way of them. They wanted to run it up the gut against one of the best defense lines in the country, and it just didn't work out. They have an all-star set of receivers, and they chose, hey, let's not. But I think it is incredibly difficult to beat a team twice. And Oregon beat Ohio State at home 32-31. And honestly, if that game went the other way, maybe we're looking at Ohio State being the 1 seed and Oregon being the 8, and Ohio State being undefeated. Maybe we're looking at that. Do I think Ryan Day is a soft coach? Absolutely. Do I think whatever lawyer that proposed that they should stop plantings in their field is soft? Absolutely. But this team is different. It showed in that Tennessee game. They won 42-17. A lot of people talked about how Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina deserved to be in the playoffs because Indiana got blown out, SMU got blown out, all these blowouts. And then Ohio State said, all right, we're the Big Ten. Let's show the SEC boys how we get it done. And being a big Michigan fan, also applying to Tennessee, hoping, that I might go eventually one day. And I actually got in. I'm just cheering for Ohio State. I'd be sick of the Bama and Ole Miss fans that thought that they were entitled to a playoff spot. I wrote a whole article about why SMU deserved to be there. And I did not think it was fair whatsoever to the SMU fans, the Indiana fans, to them to have to watch that happen. So I was actually really happy when Ohio State. This was the biggest blowout by far last weekend. And let's be honest, Nico was not great at all. It was 14-31, less than 50%, 104 yards, pretty miserable. 0 passes, touchdowns, 0 interceptions, so at least half decent ball security. He did have 2 rushing touchdowns, 47 rushing yards. Granted, he's a young quarterback. He's young. And yes, did Dylan Sampson get hurt? Yes, he did. But you can't drop an egg like that, especially if you're going to say that SEC is all this, all that. You cannot drop an egg like that. And Ohio State showed them why they probably should have been in the Big Ten championship in the beginning. Ohio State by far had the hardest road, I think. Even the Tennessee fans showed up in the shoe. I thought that was kind of cool of them to actually show up. But Ohio State, through adversity, showed up. And a lot of people are saying fire Ryan Day, especially after that Michigan game. And yeah, Ohio State played it close against Penn State, played it really close against Oregon. But I think they have one more up their sleeve. I think they're able, if Will Howard is able to have himself a game. I mean, he had himself a game against Tennessee, 311 yards, 2 pass touchdowns, 1 interception. If he's able to do that and not have a Michigan type of game, this team can be good. And if he's not, I guess they have next year, but I really don't. If they get blown out in this, Ryan Day's gone. Julian Saints probably hit the portal. But let's look at their weapons. Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson have a combined almost 2,000 yards rushing and a combined 19 touchdowns. Just in the running back position, they're loaded. They also have James Peoples, who has 200 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. But then when you look at their wide receivers, they have Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka. Those two are excellent. They have a good tight end core. This Ohio State team has zero excuse at this point. And going into the season, they were saying how this is the greatest college football team ever assembled. I think we've seen signs of it, like in this Tennessee Ohio State game. Do I think Tennessee was overrated? Absolutely, absolutely. They didn't really play much of anyone. They did beat Bama at home, but how good was Bama really? They struggled against Arkansas. They actually lost. They struggled against Florida. They only won by 10 against Oklahoma. Mississippi State covered against them. What it was a good season, not what the Tennessee fans wanted. But this is Ohio State team playing Oregon, playing a Heisman finalist, Dylan Gabriel. 13-0, only perfect team left. And I think that will end. I think that will end. Oregon has struggled. They struggled against Wisconsin. They struggled against Ohio State. They struggled against Boise State. They struggled against Idaho. I think this Oregon team is really good. I think this Oregon team has national championship potential. I don't think they get it. I think Ohio State is deeper. I think they have bigger linemen. They all say it's battle of the trenches. I think that's 100% true. And I think it's the Ohio State team. They haven't been in the Rose Bowl in a while. I think last time they went. What was last time I was in the Rose Bowl? January 1st, 2022. CJ Stroud and Jackson Smith in the Chigwa. And that was not a playoff game. That was simply a bowl game back when the Rose Bowl was just a normal bowl. Or it would alternate for playoff. Ohio State has something to prove. Oregon has something to prove. This is why it's the game of the week. This is what should have been the Big Ten championship. This is the hardest road to the national championship. Runs through the Rose Bowl, ran through Columbus, and will run through the winner of Texas, Arizona State. It runs through that side of the bracket, let's be honest. Do I think the Boise State Penn State game, the Georgia Notre Dame game are not going to be fun then? That's the game of the week is Ohio State Oregon. And I think Ohio State will win. It will be packed, like always. Went to the Rose Bowl last year. A lot of Bama fans, a lot of Michigan fans. It is a fun environment. You do the Rose Bowl parade that morning. You go to the game. It's really crowded. You got to take a bus to get there. You got guys on the side of the street selling off-brand stuff. It's awesome. And then, you go into the stadium. It is the narrowest thing. It's only one concourse level. And so it's like fish swimming upstream. If I had jumped up, I would have been carried by the crowd. But it is awesome. It truly is awesome. And it is the 3 o'clock game. Yeah, the 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, and then 2 o'clock kickoff there. So we'll be going into that nighttime when it finishes. Over-under set at 55.5. That is high. It went that high last time, and I think it will again. I think Ohio State will win it. Jack Sawyer is their defensive line. I think Jack Sawyer is extremely soft, but you can't deny he's not a great football player. And that Ryan Day is fighting for his job right here. If they get blown out right here, he's done. He is going to become a Sun Belt coach, an American Conference, maybe even CUSA. At best, he's going to become an offense coordinator or offense, defense, whatever. I forget what he specializes in. He's going to become a coordinator somewhere. Maybe NFL. I don't really see him as an NFL coach. And you also have former UCLA coach, Chip Kelly, also former Eagles coach, I believe. He will be back there. I think UCLA went there while he was there, I want to say. This is the game of the week. I really like the uniform matchup as well. I think Ohio State, they're doing the line down the helmet with the roses on it. That's super cool. Oregon is wearing the mighty Duck jerseys, I believe, with a nice Rose Bowl patch on the jersey. This is the granddaddy of them all. This is the game of the week, and I'm taking Ohio State. It's been a lot of fun talking with y'all. I'm sorry the other guys couldn't come. Very busy week. I'm out in Colorado right now skiing, so sorry if you hear people elsewhere. But yeah, these are my picks for the college football playoff. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will see y'all next week. Hopefully, going for 4 with Arizona State, Boise State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State all coming out on top. And this is the future of college football. In my opinion, we're going to go on a quick rant real quick. I think it should be an 8-man playoff. I think the conference champions should get an automatic bid, but not automatic buys. I think 12 is a bit much. There are no 12 deserving teams. I think there are 8. I think this is our 8 right here that deserve to be in it. This is our 8. The 8 best teams that college football has had to offer week in and week out this season. And this is the 8 that you will see a national championship from. It will be fun. It will be exciting. And I will see you all soon. All right.